James Carville and Paul Begala are back. James, I want to ask you a question about hope. Michelle Obama said in a podcast interview with Michelle Norris that she was experiencing low-grade depression, which just threw open the floodgates for, I think, a lot of people to say, me too, myself included. Where does hope figure into this upcoming election?
Well, I completely understand where the former First Lady is coming from. We're in an 80% wrong track country right now. I don't know who the 20% who are that think things are going well, but 80% of the people are at some level. And Ms. Obama, anybody, people like that, just see that what we're going through. But the truth of the matter is we got a change election coming up. We just got to hang in there to November. We got to get the post office funded. We got to get these secretaries of state and these elections funded. And the country is going to vote for change. And they completely vote for change if they read Paul's book and if they read it up and down, and candidates and consultants and everything else. We got to stay focused on the things that matter to people. People are struggling out there. They're struggling with health care. They're struggling with paychecks. They're struggling with children that are at home and they don't know if they'll be able to go to school. I mean, it is a difficult time in the United States. I understand what Mrs. Obama is saying, but there's one thing we got to put all our hopes in, and that is bringing change on November 3rd. That's our mission.
Paul Begala, let me read some of the book. Chapter 8 is titled, "This Chapter Will Beat Trump, I Guarantee." When Republicans try to cut Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, and Democrats call them on it, Democrats win. It's pretty simple. They cut, we protect, we win. That's how you do it, people. You just say it early and often. Set a little buzzer on your Apple Watch that goes off every 10 minutes. When it goes off, just repeat. Trump wants to cut Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Would you add to that? He's also not protecting the country from a deadly pandemic.
Yeah. COVID has changed everything in the poll. And in fact, I think this is the first book written since the pandemic. My two projects, which kept me going through this low-grade depression we're all suffering, was I wrote a book and I grew a beard. And I think the lighting, because remember, you knew me when I had the red beard, and I don't know, this one came in kind of gray.
I like the beard. I'll weigh in. I'm not a universal fan of beards, but you wear it well.
But so, yes, I do think COVID changes everything. Can you imagine that during a pandemic, 4 million people have gotten sick in this country? Mr. Trump is in court trying to take their health care away. He's trying to take away the Affordable Care Act. He's trying to take away protections against pre-existing conditions. When I was researching this book, I found, you know how many Americans have pre-existing conditions? 129 million of us. That for some health insurance companies, being a woman, Nicole, is considered a pre-existing condition for which they can jack up your rates or deny you coverage. So the notion that anyone would do that ever is pretty appalling, but that in the middle of a pandemic, when people are hurting, when people are vulnerable, when they're losing their jobs, and with that, their health care, we're going to go to court to try to take away protections against pre-existing conditions, in addition to trying to pass a budget that cuts Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. Democrats, I think, can run on that.
Paul, what do you think has stayed the same? I mean, I thought I understood campaigns. I was a student of the campaigns you both ran. And then in 2016, I was pretty sure I no longer understood campaigns or politics, or at least Republican ones. Is it the same in that relating to the problems of people like me and being a strong leader are the two axes along which people select presidents? Because if it is, then that explains where Donald Trump is so far behind. He's demonstrated neither, especially over the last 5 months.
I think that's right. And I think it's part of what I got wrong in 2016 I helped take it off of that track. I didn't mean to. And we tested it. All our ads worked in focus groups and all that, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't make it about voters' lives. I made it about Trump, which every narcissist wants. Even if it's negative, they want attention. And so I understandably, I think, was distracted when he insulted John McCain. In fact, we made an ad with Joe Kernan, who was a friend of mine. We lost him last week. He was governor of Indiana. Before that, he was a POW with Senator McCain. And attacking POWs is pretty awful.
Yeah.
Bragging about grabbing women is pretty awful. So I made a bunch of ads on that. But what I didn't do was talk about Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, health care, jobs, people's lives. I got distracted. So I think the politics that you and I and James all believe in, which is about making people's lives better, making this country freer, fairer, richer, safer. That still applies. And I think it was in 2016 that we got off track. And I do bear my share of responsibility for that. It's part of the reason I wrote this book.
Paul Begala, tell us where to buy the book. I made the mistake of not reminding people to go to their independent small bookstores, but of course that's where you should go first. Tell us where to find it.
Oh, I did a great event last night with Politics and Prose, the great DC independent bookstore. I love independent booksellers. It's published by Simon & Schuster, who've been awfully good to me and even paid extra money for a blow up of the of the cover, which I'm proud of. I'm standing on street corners holding this up in front of James's house. He's in a wealthier neighborhood.
If I didn't have this show, I'd be standing on street corners shouting the news.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.